Episode 753,624 of the Too Thick Pod, your home for all things sports, cards, and levity. I am excited because today we are going to be doing an Avery Shoebox show review. So thank God we're going to have Dennis on to carry this thing, because when it's just myself, Manny, and Courtney, it's just a dumpster fire. Dennis, welcome. Courtney, thank you for all that you do. Manny, 6.9, what's going on?
What's up, everyone? Man,
Why are you eating?
We got
Why
some
do you wait? You're like the rudest person I've ever met. You always
I'm not
eat
eating
when you talk to
anything.
people.
Nothing. Jeez.
Unreal.
Dennis, we have some intelligent people on today. We have Dennis from AV Shoebox, and we have Miss Courtney Reckless, the better of the two, I would say.
Between her and Dennis, definitely.
No, between you two, she is way better than you. So welcome.
I mean, she does do that thing, which is much better than what I can do.
Jesus. Oh,
what?
Dennis, this is going to be
making content. She's better at clipping videos. What the hell are you talking about, man?
Yeah, I bet. That's why Courtney laughed like she did.
Jeremy never clips videos.
No.
I delegate and shit gets done.
He does, but they're just not for public consumption.
You're actually not wrong about that.
If you go to the Reckless link tree, there's that OF at the very bottom where for $19.99 a month, you can see what we really do with our slabs.
It's a lot more. It would be a lot more expensive than $19.99 a month. Just so everyone's aware.
Yeah, that's for the good stuff. That's not for the premium. There's levels to this, Court.
You got to start it at free so you can get your subscribers up, and then you hit them with the subscription price.
Dennis, don't you know who I think I am? I'm not doing anything for free.
Hey, we were talking about Jeremy's page. I don't know where your OnlyFans page is.
Reckless OnlyFans / Only Courtney. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So, we were at a show this weekend, and our local show, the Avery Shoebox.
Hold on, time out.
What?
We were at the best premiere.
That's what I was going to say. It is the
in
best
all
show
of Michigan. Let's try that again, Manny. Take two.
We were at the best, their premiere, our local show, the Avery Shoebox show. And we did a lot of buying. Well, Jeremy and Courtney did a lot of buying. Dennis did a lot of buying. I was there for shits and giggles. So let's get started.
How many tables, Dennis? Was it 163 was the final number?
166, I believe.
Wow.
That's insane.
So when you took over the show, how many tables was it to start with?
Bob was consistently probably about 100.
Were you there when it was you were probably there when it was 25 in Bob's store, right?
I was there when it was like 6.
Yeah.
Oh, Bob and I actually came up with the idea when we were having lunch one day, and he said he wanted to do a show and talked about doing it in a restaurant and all that type of stuff. And so, yeah, we talked about it for a long time, and then I went and lived life for a while, and Bob did his thing, and now Bob wants to go live life. So, I took it over, and that's that.
What's the feeling like? Because this truly, when we're it comes across like we're joking, but it is, in my opinion, the best show in Michigan. I have yet to be one that even comes close to it. And we've got some pretty good shows that are 20, 25 minutes from our house, and we don't even set up at those. We very rarely go to them, just because when we go to Lansing, first off, the thing that I appreciate the most right now is the community. It's now becoming where at first there was like this pressure, like we have to sell cards, we have to buy cards, we have to be 110% business professional, where it's you show up, you have a good time, everybody knows your name, you're chatting it up, people are looking out for one another. Talk about like building something that truly, like in my opinion, is community, where you've got good dealers, you've got good people, there's good money walking around the room. It's got to be a good feeling.
It is, and there's a lot of good feedback that I hear. Sometimes Courtney sends me some that she gets, and that definitely does make me feel good. Some of the dealers leaving positive feedback or texting or calling me, messaging me on Facebook, things like that. It's awesome that, people can come out, have a good time, learn some stuff, buy some cards, make some friends, you know, in Jeremy and Manny's case, find love. There's all kinds of things that happen. So it's, it's a magical thing. And
Jeremy
it does
and
make you
Manny's
feel good.
behavior at the last show would indicate that they've gotten a lot more comfortable at your show based on just their antics. And I have to say, I'm going to start sending you more, because every time we do a Lansing recap or we talk about the Lansing show or we say we're going to the Lansing show, I get a slew of messages of people being like, you guys talk about this show, it looks so awesome. Is it worth the drive out there? And then they'll come up and then they'll send me another message like, wow, it was so worth it. That was like one of the best shows I've ever been to. And it's like, it makes me feel good, because I personally don't want to advocate or talk about something that I don't believe in. And having that feedback from the people who I'm sending, like, you should come here, we love this show, it's great. And then having people go to the show and come to me and be like, you were right, it's a great show. I don't want to tell someone, oh, come to this show, and then they get there and it's like, man, this sucks. Like, I shouldn't have drove the 2 hours here. I have, as of yet, not had anyone say anything, but like, I had no idea this show was here. It's like an hour and a half from my house. It's definitely worth it. And this was like awesome. So thank you for letting us know.
Yep. Yeah, and I get that stuff too, even from some dealers. They'll be from Columbus, they'll be from Toledo, they'll be from, sometimes Louisville, Wisconsin, that sort of stuff. And I just send them videos of the show and be like, hey, I'll be perfectly honest with you. This is how many tables we have. This is what the traffic looks like. This is the stuff that moves. And a lot of the people want to make the trip and try it out and see how it goes. And, everybody's been very happy. So
how do you determine, because I'd imagine a lot of the people that I see there are familiar faces, and that kind of, Courtney, that goes hand in hand with me and Manny being able to do a little bit of content, because I now feel so much more comfortable than I've ever felt at any show, where I can let my guard down a little, have some fun, open up to people, and make the most of it. It's great to sell cards, but it's also, it's great is when the priority isn't to sell cards, but it's to engage in like awesome conversation, to have fun, to those jokes that you make with people online, to razz them some more in person. Like, to me, that speaks volumes of the show. Otherwise, I'm just like quiet at the booth, just being friendly to people. Like, to me, and I mean, would you agree with that?
You're talking to me? I definitely agree.
I mean, you are Courtney, but I mean, whatever. I'll just talk.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were directing it to the group. No, my thing is every single time that I walk into the Lansing show now, like, I walk in and it's like, before I even make it to my table to set up, I'm talking to 15, 20 different people. They're like, oh, so excited to see you. And this is like a monthly show. Like, we see everybody once a month. It's not like, some of these quarterly shows where it's like really exciting. Like, oh, I haven't seen you in, 3 months. Every month, everyone is super excited to be there. And that kind of energy, I don't think is all that common. I go to card shows where everybody's sitting around looking absolutely miserable. And everybody, everyone's standing up at Avery Shoebox show. Everybody's talking with each other. They're watching each other's tables so that they can make trips around. For the most part, I never want it like 100%. There's always like scumbags out there, but your stuff feels safe there. And a lot of people set up the same. So like the two people on the sides of us now, like, we know them. I know what they're doing. I know what they have. When people ask me like, oh, I need this, I'm like, oh, that guy's got it for sure. It's different than other shows we go to.
Mm-hmm. We had a couple people come up to us, Dennis, and was like trying to sell cards to Jeremy, and Jeremy would direct them to like the dealers that were buying. For example, there was a lot. This guy was trying to sell it was like dollar bin type cards, and he was like, I know the perfect person. Send them to Hollister. And I don't know if they got the deal done, but then like if there's Pokemon, I'm like, go in the shop. Dennis is buying Pokemon. That dude's the Pokemon guy all of a sudden. So now send it to Dennis. He buys all the Pikachus. and all the Charizards and I don't know who else.
There's a lot of guys next to us buy Pokemon. Nick from McCracken, he does Pokemon. There's a good mix of cards at that show. It's not just,
You know how I know that I'm starting to feel comfortable is like it would be the night before a show, and I would be like, Courtney, did you get 150 crisp $100 bills? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, please triple count it. She's like, they're there. I'm like, I only counted 148. I need 150 singles, 205s, this and this. The last show, I'm like, I've got nothing but hundos in my pocket or 20s, and I'm like, I don't even care. Somebody will hook me up with some change. There's enough good people there. Let them do some damn work.
It's true. Right. I keep some on hand. I got you covered.
Nice. Well, I'm never going to the bank again.
I do want to bring up, because we do talk about the show all the time and how great it is, but man, Dennis is killing it in the shop game. I went in there and it's like amazing now. And it's like Dennis was saying, you still have some stuff that you want to do, but man, you have like that guy that sells, I forgot his name, but he was selling strictly Pokemon. He's so knowledgeable on that. And you just go around, there's comics. I went around the corner and you have full-size helmets, autograph. I didn't even know that. So there's options for everything in your shop.
Yeah, why don't you talk a little bit about what's going on with your shop, Dennis?
Well, I have a vision of how I want it to be and how I want it to look, and have aisles of Funkos and sports cards and Pokemon, Magic, comic books, all that sort of stuff. Star Wars toys, all the stuff that is awesome. And, I'm just one guy with a big ass shop. So I have to do it in sections, and, unless there's anybody out there that's got, high six figures that they want to float to make it how I want it today, it's going to have to happen in sections. And every month when I have the show, my goal is for people to make comments on how different it is from the month before. So as long as I still get those comments, I feel like I'm making progress and we're moving in the right direction. So that's my plan.
It was good.
I was listening to you talk a little bit about being a shop in a mall. Do you feel like you get more people coming to see you because it's easy parking? There's the food court there. It makes it kind of convenient. Because I feel like typically nowadays, it's not like you're getting walked through traffic in almost any business. People are looking for a card show. They're going to Google you and they're like, okay, he's there. What do you think about that? Because I literally heard you having that conversation at the show with someone. So
yeah, for the show, it definitely helps out the shop and, spreading awareness and all that about the shop. As far as, walk through traffic or drive by traffic or whatever, that's nothing. The people that know about the shop know that I'm there every day but Tuesday. They come to the mall, they're coming to see me. The mall walker that's, 75 years old trying to get their steps in at 10 o'clock in the morning. They might walk through the shop, but they're not there to shop, which is fine. There's a couple of them every morning. They say, hi, good morning, all that stuff. That's great. But as far as people coming to the shop to buy things, they know that it's there. They've heard about it somewhere, and they're coming in and they'll ask me, do you have XYZ? And if I don't, I'm probably trying to get it. So
I know last week when we were chatting, Dennis, you told me that you were finally catching up to Doris and Adeline when you guys were walking in the morning, and you said that you had gotten your new Skechers shape ups. How's that working out for you?
It's pretty good. My vertical's up to about 7 inches, so I can leap a curb in a single bound. So, we're making progress. I don't just make progress in the store. I make progress as a person.
You got to look good in that Speedo that you're going to wear for those MMA fights, right?
Oh, yeah. My banana hammock game is super strong.
No, he's dead serious. And I love it when he comes out, when he's showing it off for the boys, and he always accidentally wears it backwards. That's my favorite.
Yeah. My ring music is It's Raining Men. There's all kinds of stuff going down.
Is that what happens in the back of the shop?
Nope.
He was doing squats and like
right out in the open.
I was like,
you have to do it in the open, Manny.
It's Pride Month, Manny. Get some respect.
Unbelievable. So Courtney was on Hobby News Daily. Am I saying that right, Court?
I was actually on the Bench Clear Media did
Media.
their Hobby Palooza to raise money for signatures for soldiers. And so they do like nonstop hobby content for 2 days, and then everyone can donate. They scroll the Cash App and the Venmo or whatever, PayPal for the signature for soldiers. So it's sort of like a fundraising thing. But I was on it through Hobby News Daily.
All right. And so the topic was, they were talking about like the hobby being dead and all the negativity that goes into a hobby. And I've always said that, social media sometimes is complete and total bullshit. It's not real. It's quickly how people just latch to these narratives that are being spun. When you've been in this game for a long time, Dennis, you're walking the show on a Saturday, the first Saturday of the summer up in Michigan, where we've had terrible weather. People have kids. I know the moment the sun comes out and we have good weather, nobody's inside. Everybody's outside. The amount of foot traffic, the amount of dealers you have coming from different states, from hundreds of miles away to set up, to see the volume of money in the room. I suspect that you would have a different opinion about the hobby being dead.
It's definitely not. I mean, it's changed, but all the people that were brand new that saw nothing but the upticks, this is all, the last 8 months have been a culture shock to them. And some of them have left, some of them are adjusting, getting their bearings as far as the way things are today. And there are people that they're just there to collect. I mean, I buy the stuff that I like. You guys buy the stuff that you like, regardless of what the market is. If Patrick Williams blue refractors start going for $6, you're going for 199 of them. That's just how it's going to be. And I buy the guys I like. There's still plenty of room to flip and do things on today's, pay scale that we got going on. And there's plenty of guys there that buy all kinds of stuff. If you're looking to get out, looking to make some money for the day, it's definitely possible to, still make a living doing this. So.
I feel
Manny,
like
you got a great opportunity to walk the show, and you operate through a different lens because you're still learning how you're going to navigate the space. You're still, some people just up and quit, and you're kind of taking your lumps and you're learning. You're having the highs and lows. You're out talking to people. You're giving them sweaty tummy hugs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the vibe from you?
So I actually talked to Brad for a little bit because he made the trip up from Shipshewana, and he was like, "Man, I'm gonna tell you something. 2 years ago, if you told me to do the Shipshewana show in a mall, I would have been like, no. But now seeing this show, makes me think maybe a mall show can work." So he was excited. He said it was a great show. He picked up Jonathan Taylor from you guys, right? So he was pretty pumped about that. He said it made the trip worthwhile. We have people from Indianapolis reaching out, Evan. And he was saying that he needs to make it to the Lansing show because he hears us talking about how fun it is and how people are buying. And I think that's what the one key about this show that's different is the dealers are buying. Like you have, if it's not Jeremy buying, you have the Pokemon dealers that are buying. If it's not them, go into Dennis's shop and he is buying at the right price. He needs inventory. So he makes people liquid. Yeah. Dennis, show off what you got on Saturday.
I got a couple Koufax rookies, 5.5, nice. Got a Satchel Paige 53 from our boy, Icy Ice. Henderson 8.5, 48 Babe Ruth swell with Lou Gehrig.
Yeah,
55 Jim Thorpe, and a whole mess of other crap. But
at the right price. I saw Dennis a couple shows ago digging through some old comic books that this guy brought from his basement, and he was buying those. So like I said, people come to this show to sell their cards to the dealers, which I love. I know, Jeremy, you have the same type of story. Like, what happened with you? I guess explain what you bought a ton.
Well, I'll say the first thing when you tried, like maybe 2 years ago, when you were still working over at the other spot, and we talked about like maybe linking up at the Lansing show, and you told me it was a mall. I'm just like, please lose my number.
Yeah,
I'm not going to a card show at a mall. Nothing good comes at mall card shows. And I was like,
I had
so
a dragon, Dennis.
Yeah, you totally had to eat crow with that one.
100%. I'll own it. Unlike Manny, I'm accountable. Anyway, yeah, no, there's always, so you build these relationships and people understand how you operate. So you walk the show and how was it for you? What's moving for you? Always trying to understand, like, what can we as Reckless do better? What kind of, and like the last couple shows, our inventories just move. We can never have enough of it. And so, yeah, I was able to buy somebody out at the end of the day. And it's always like a great feeling. They get cash in hand. They don't have to worry about doing any work. They walk out empty-handed with a thing full of cash. I've got inventory to set up for Drip, ISO, and for the next time that I'm at, Dennis's lovely show.
Yeah. And Dennis, I know we haven't brought it up, and I know it's in a couple months, but you should talk briefly, because this is kind of in my world, what's happening August 12th.
So August 12th, we're going to do a show that's everything but sports cards. So Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Disney, Marvel, comic books, Funkos, toys, Star Wars, all the stuff that isn't sports cards. So we're going to do a show specially for that. And we're going to try and build that up because I love all that stuff too. And there's not a lot of that at this show. And I would like to have a show that has all that so I can have more of that in the shop and, give something to the other group of clientele that there's just not a lot of that stuff around. And all the, Comic-Cons like Motor City and all that stuff, you're paying $30-$40 admission every single day. They have all the panels, they're celebrities and all that stuff. They're, designed to get more of your money. And I just want to have a show where you can show up. Everything's free. You can go and look for some comics. You can go find whatever magic you need to finish out your deck, all that sort of stuff. And that's what I want to do.
How many tables for the initial show? And I know you're a man of many visions. What's the overall, goal? Is it to do monthly and 160 tables?
Well, I would love for that to happen, but I mean, it took a long time to get the sport card show to that level. So, I feel like if I was at 70, 80 for the first show for the non-sport, that would be successful, and I can put enough people in that room that those people would all have a great show, tell 5 people about it, and then grow it from there.
Yeah, Austin, I agree, because as we've dabbled into the TCG arena, I'm excited to go to the show. I sure as hell wouldn't be buying because I would lose so hard because I can't tell the difference between an SSR, SR, GR, all that stuff. But I will bring my black labels and slang them at a fraction of the price.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna set up and just do live Disney breaks on Drip from
There you
Avery.
go.
Showbox.
There you go.
Yeah, see, there you go.
It's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I'm really, because I'm trying to get into that TCG world, and we kind of talked, but mine's more of like the anime. And I'm starting at the first couple months ago, there was no Dragon Ball Z, there's no One Piece, there was nothing like that. This show, it was kind of sprinkled in with some of the dealers with the Pokemon. I'm getting excited because I'm like, there's people from Wisconsin that had some tournament Dragon Ball Z cards, which I usually grab, and they said they had a good show. So I'm hoping they come back. I know there's some One Piece dealers that we made friends with them, and they had One Piece. He had One Piece boxes, Dragon Ball Z boxes. I was like, let's go. It's getting bigger on the anime side.
Yep,
And
and I think that's definitely something that would be really big for the non-sport show, with the Funkos and the comics and things like that. That's pretty much right in that wheelhouse. So hopefully it pans out the way that I'm preparing for it to be.
So we've got one more show prior to National. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah, the next show will be the week before the National. So that's your chance to blow out all the stuff that you don't want for, extra national spending cash or a good chance for you to, buy out a table or two so you've got stuff to sling at the national.
So
Or if
before
you're gonna have national FOMO, it's your last big show before national. If you're not
Right. Or if you don't want to spend $1,200 to stay in a hotel in Chicago that weekend, then,
So here's the thing: if you're gonna, because so many people just like to sell their stuff for pennies on the dollar to have money for national, come see me. I'll buy it. Do not see Dennis and don't see the next guy. We're gonna.
I got 10% over Jeremy, whatever it is. So it's fine.
Well, that's why we call you Daddy.
That's fair.
So when's the date on that? Do you have that date available?
The next show date is July 22nd.
July 22nd. Be there, everybody.
Mhm.
Dennis, always a pleasure to have you on. You're handsome, you're kind, you're thoughtful, you're sweet. And quite frankly, it makes this hour bearable. Otherwise, having to put up with these other two, I don't know what the hell I'd do. You know what I mean?
It happens. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Mhm.
And make sure you tell Tyler I said hi.
I'm not telling him shit. That guy's been stealing from me for so long, man.
Dennis, Jeremy's upset with you because you put Tyler next to Jeremy because Tyler requested it, and Tyler was buying all of Jeremy's cards.
Tyler's my guy, and he just eavesdropped, and they're like, I'll be like, I've got a deal. I'm like, oh, finally got a home run. And Tyler's like, hey, just so you know, I'll pay you 25 more bucks than whatever. He just did like you did.
Or he's got Kenny over there being like, oh, reckless stuff's over comp, so you have to, they're 40% over comp, so buy them.
Something's wrong with Kenny, man. Something's not right.
Hey, you guys are already in the back of the room. I mean, I can't put you any more out of the way. It's like you have the 2-person table right by the bathroom.
The bench next to the soda machine in the hall.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're sitting in the bottom of the claw machine with one of the little tines is broken. I mean, you're stuck in there.
Let's go. I'll still cook. Let me cook.
Blaine, if you want to reach out to Avery Shoebox, he might be interested. I don't know if he has it, but Blaine has the Aussie LBs that he's willing to sell for you.
All right.
So
there you go. Reach out. Awesome, Dennis. Well, we appreciate it. Let's get this other knucklehead in here.
All right. Have a good one, Dennis.
Appreciate it.
All right.
What's up, guys?
On the other side now. Oh, and I'm back.
Man, you're messing it all up. We're used to our spots.
Swapping around. What's going on?
I know how to entertain Courtney now.
Damn,
I'm
Tyler,
very-
Does Manny have the controls?
Unfortunately.
I don't know how he ended up being in control, but he is in control.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. Courtney's looking a little less attractive tonight, and Tyler, you're looking pretty damn good now that you guys have
Thank
swapped
you.
spots.
I appreciate that. I could feel the warm welcome. I thought it would be fun being next to you guys, at the show. And man, Jeremy, right out of the gate.
I told you, it's nonstop.
That's true. I was very warm. I
It
was
seemed like you were a little intimidated.
Yeah.
Oh, I was. I can't compete with your bankroll, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I
does.
think you bought more. I think you bought more than I did.
No. Hey, Austin, what you should ask him is he updated the spreadsheet. That's my favorite thing. Anytime you see Tyler, ask him if he updated the spreadsheet. He'll know what we're talking about.
And you know what? You do not have SGC grades yet. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, that was another fun episode of the.
I know it.
No, Tyler, you got Jeremy so riled up at the show. Did you see him going after Courtney and I after the show on our live?
No, what happened?
He was asking for divorce. He was saying that I'm fired from Too Thick.
I know you gave you were offering everything at their table 50% off when they weren't there.
Well, that's because that was a rebuttal from what he said to me that I wasn't doing anything.
You weren't doing anything. In fairness to Jeremy, you were not doing anything.
Well, don't worry.
What do you mean? You were like, oh, my ADHD, I'm hot. I need to walk around. You didn't buy anything. You didn't sell anything. And you didn't write content.
You tried to sell my card when I was right next
I
to
sell
him.
your stuff for you. My favorite thing is Manny gets there 3 hours late, and he's like, where's my drink? Where's my drink? I set it down. I'm like, well, it's not at this table. You just got here.
I
And
know.
then he looked around the table for 10 minutes, and I'm like, you just got here.
Late?
How would your drink get here? And then it was like in the bathroom or something.
No, I was.
Yeah, he took it in the bathroom with him and left it there. I'm like, were you pooping before you came out here?
That's messed up. No, Tyler, I have.
Hold on, before we get into this, somebody want to give Mr. Tyler a nice introduction. I
Okay.
shot my wad on Dennis.
Well,
Courtney,
I
how
will
about you?
because I adore Tyler. Tyler is one of my favorite people in this space. I talk to him probably every other day. He is a brilliant businessman. TNT is one of the premier, if not the premier, group subbers in not just Michigan, but the country, I would argue. They do amazing work. I have sent so many people to them, and it's one of those things where I was just telling Dennis the same thing. When I tell someone something and then they use the service or they go to the show or they try it out and then they come back to me and they're like, thank you for introducing me to this or that. I get messages from people who probably weekly that are using TNT now and are like, I sent in 8 cards, 6 of them came back at 10. And I can't thank you enough for introducing me to TNT. I feel like they're one of the best. They're sneaky big. One of the best kept secrets, in the hobby right now is TNT. And if you're not following them, you absolutely should be.
No, thank you.
Yep.
That's how we start grading for free. Good job, Court.
Yeah,
Hey,
only
if it's a Joe Burrow contenders.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, so we're talking about the show, and we're talking about we just always try to be honest about what we're seeing: good, bad, ugly. So we got Dennis off the stream, so we got rid of the bad and the ugly. So now we got the good. You know what I mean? I'm just going after everybody tonight.
I know, it's because Dennis is still here, and he can hear you still. Look at him. Look at his face on the bottom.
Dennis is my guy. You know what? And I'm afraid he might be able to kick my ass now that he's doing those steps every morning with Doris.
That beard, man. Oh my God. It's so glorious. I love his beard.
It's menacing. Like if he came out and he had a monocle and he was flipping a coin and he was just killing puppies, you'd be like, that makes sense. That looks like Dennis.
That is my jam. I find that so attractive. I wish you would grow a long, menacing beard.
Here's the thing is Courtney's not joking either, man.
I'm not. He shaved his beard down. I was like, why'd you do that?
You're a stud, Jeremy, no matter what.
So what do you think of the show? You set up there all the time. You do a lot of buying. You sell.
We like to buy.
You have awesome fire in your showcases. What's your perspective of the show?
We didn't for the longest time. The only show we ever set up at was Shipshawana, right? One, just with our schedule, it's tough to get away. We're so busy in the office. So we went up there probably 4 or 5 shows ago just to buy, and had a great experience. I mean, the amount of quality inventory that was up there, I was impressed. I think that part of that is, I know Courtney and I talk about it all the time, Michigan's sneaky good, when it comes to the collectors and the quality of collectors that are in Michigan. So we decided to set up, a few shows ago there. Probably, I think this was our 3rd or 4th one. And I mean, we won't miss it. That's one of those things to where, it's well worth the trip. I think for Michigan, it's in, as good of a location as you could ask for, as far as being able to pull from really up north, south, west, east. I mean, be in the middle of the state like it is. You got so many big cities that are within an hour to an hour and a half. So just a great draw. And, really Dennis, the way that he lays it out, there's plenty of room, 180 tables. And I mean, it doesn't ever feel crammed. So the people that are coming to walk the show they can walk around and it's crazy. I mean, you'll just find a little bit of everything there. There's a really good mix of, modern. There's a good mix of high end, really good mix of TCG, I think, especially Pokemon. So just a little bit of everything, which that's not really anything that we mess around with is Pokemon, but there's definitely a really good selection there. So, I think it really, kind of hits everything you would ask for in a show. And, Dennis does a great job. So that's all you can really ask for.
So what's an ideal show for TNT? Obviously, you guys are a group subber, and I would imagine being set up, you'd like to take in some cards.
We like to take in some cards. That's always good. A lot of it's just networking. We've never really we went full time. That'll be about a year and a half ago. Is when we went full time. It probably would have been sooner if it wasn't for the shutdown, but a year and a half ago we went full time. But even then, when we went full time, we've never advertised. We did a little bit on Instagram, but nothing major. It's always been word of mouth for us. So in Michigan, there's still a huge untapped market there for us that people don't really know what we do, how we work, how we operate. So that's part of it, that we like to get out there and just talk to people. And then the other part of it is we like to buy. That's we do some buying for a repack. So that definitely helps. We prefer to buy graded and flip that quick. But yeah, that's the main thing. Just trying to buy as much as possible and do some networking. And you think about it. I mean, even you guys, we would have never known you except for all started in Shipshewana, right? And that relationship's just kind of continued to build. To where we've done quite a bit with each other. Whether it be on here or we've been on your hobby night school a couple of times, and it's just been good to kind of just put ourselves out there, I guess, is the one thing we've enjoyed from it.
I want to emphasize on buying because I did bring it up with Dennis because he's buying for a shop. You guys are heavy buyers too, and
we like to buy.
This show, I want to bring it up again. This show, if you're listening and need cards to sell, there's dealers that are willing to buy at this show. You have TNT, you have Dennis, Jeremy and Courtney are buying like tables.
The Teen-Off boys.
Yeah,
I don't even know how much they spent at the show. I mean, they bought. I want to say they almost bought one table out. They actually had one of our customers came to the show that was selling a bunch of stuff. I know they spent a ton of money with him. I know we work with Invisible Vets to where Jim comes and he sets up, takes a table. Wherever we're set up, Jim always has a table pretty much with us to where cards that he gets donated for his nonprofit. For him, what he does, he sells those cards to help fund the nonprofit. And he sold enough cards at the show he buys 100 American flags a month for veteran suicides and deaths, veteran deaths, to where he donates them to the families. And he buys 100 a month, American made. And I want to say when I was talking to him on the way home, they're right around $120, $130 a flag. And he was able to fill this month's order by what he sold at the show. So there is a lot of money in that room, in Lansing. He was very, very successful with it.
I'm really proud of Jim. He's learned so much.
Mm-hmm.
He said that the hobby has funded his mission in a way that nothing else has funded it.
Yeah.
And I'm super proud of the space for doing that. So
Kenny came into this knowing nothing about cards, right? I mean, toward this show, normally we have Kenny with us, but we were a little behind on some things at the office, so he stayed behind and worked at the office a little bit. So we kind of just put him out there and let him kind of do his own thing and just kind of helped if he needed it, but he pretty much did it on his own. And he did a good job. I mean, we had everything priced for him, so that helps, but he crushed it. So it was pretty cool to see compared to where he was at. What his first show would have been Johnny Ford, so he's definitely made a lot of progress, just kind of learning the business a little bit, I guess.
I don't know how much you caught before you hopped on, but we were talking about, oftentimes on social media or with influencers, they talk about how the hobby's dead or, we're all going to die. And nobody ever wants to share the good stuff that happens. And we had somebody that came up and he bought a card at the Johnny Ford show and it came back at gemmed. It was an Ellie De La Cruz. And he came back and he tried to give us money. And I'm like, I don't want money. That's the way it works. You buy a car, and he actually went over and wanted to take the money on our behalf and donate it to Jim, which I thought was just he went out of his way to come to the show just to give $20, which I thought was so cool. Most people don't do that.
No, that's really cool. Yeah, hobby's definitely not dead.
The hobby is, I feel like there's so much more generosity than people want to talk about. Everybody wants, it's, I was on that live for Hobby News Daily and someone said the people who say that the hobby is dead or have all this negative stuff to say are doing it for clicks and for like attention. And I would be remiss to ignore the scammers and the bad stuff that happens because it does happen. Like look at Three Kings right now. They're going through.
Yeah.
Somebody cloned their Instagram page and was scanning people, and that's affecting their real life business. Like they're getting bad reviews and stuff. So there is bad stuff that happens, and it would be irresponsible to not acknowledge that. But overwhelmingly, I think the hobby is a good space. We had a friend who graded a card with you guys, and it came back, and he sold it. I sold it at Johnny Ford, and he messaged me. He's like, just take all that money for whatever the card sold for and give it to the Invisible Vets.
Wow.
And so like things like that, nobody talks about it because it's not salacious. It's not sexy. But it is, in my experience in this space, are people being generous, people throwing in extra things that they know you like when you buy something, people going out of their way to do good things. And shows like Lansing, where everybody knows each other, that's what you see there. That's like the real, like, what is it, Jeremy, meat and potatoes of the hobby?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Jeremy, and Tyler, I forgot to tell Dennis when he was on. Dennis and Courtney made my daughter's day without them knowing. I went in there because Haven called me and wanted some cards. She's trying to collect, and she wants to start, like, she's 4. She wants to start a YouTube channel because she sees me on here talking, and then she sees me with cards, so she wants to do the same thing, but she wants pink cards. So then she saw Pokemon, some of the pink ones. So I just went into Dennis's shop and was like, I need pink Pokemon stat and some cards to rip. And Dennis just gave me a blaster and said, rip it with your daughter.
Oh,
and it was, she saw it, and you should have saw her face lighten up. Like, we're going to make a video of us ripping the cards, and she's pumped. And then you gave her the Disney cards, Courtney. So she was like, Anna, Elsa, and she was excited, showing mom and everything. So thank you guys.
Did you actually open the blaster, or I thought you flipped it to somebody right away?
No, I'm going to open it. I would never do that.
So Tyler,
I know that she's collecting pink cards. Every pink card that I find is going to be put away for Miss Haven and her pink collection. I think that's a brilliant way to start a collection. It's just, I like pink cards.
Yep. Pink and green, because daddy likes green. So she likes those too.
going back to taking in cards at the show, does it still surprise you how many people don't know that you guys exist and what you do?
I mean, yeah, a little bit, I guess. I mean, but like I said, we don't really put ourselves out there that much. So, I mean, but like this show, I mean, we took in easily well over 100 cards, and it's not something we really advertised that much that we were taking in cards. I put up an Instagram post the day before, and, it's starting to get those repeats, but yeah, I mean, some of it kind of surprised you, I guess, sometimes a little bit, but, for the most part, I mean, we kind of expect, I guess, to take in some, when
Sure.
we go.
I got a good marketing ploy for you. Get the big goon Austin in a TNT Dynamite mascot suit and put him on center and Portage or West Edge and have him direct people to your guys' shop.
Oh, he's been great. I mean, we've
there
got
you
quite
go.
a few customers from Austin.
See, there you go. Put him in a Dynamite thing.
Like out there dancing.
Yeah, out there dancing or spinning.
Spinning
Like
sign.
I could see Austin doing that.
No, he'd be good at that. He'd
See?
bring some attention.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's the attention you want, but
What was that?
I said I don't know if it's the attention that Tyler wants, but there's gonna be.
What is that? All publicity is good publicity?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so to the cardboard, what was moving at your table? What seemed to be in demand? What was hot when you were walking the show buying?
As far as what was moving, so Jim had a lot of new release product, a lot of the new select. I know he had moved quite a bit of that. It seems like the $1 bin, $5 bin stuff moves extremely well, which he had a good amount of that. My sister had a decent amount of that, and I know she sold through quite a bit of that. We brought some of our higher end stuff just to kind of get an idea of, what kind of interest. We had a entire display case, nothing but Jared Goff. And then we had some other upper tier Lions. We had some nice Jameson Williams, which, everything's down for him right now. But Aiden Hutchinson, we brought some of the nicer Aidens that we have. And then just some of the other higher end quarterbacks that we have, just to kind of see, what type of interest we'd have there. But the main thing was really just to see. I was real curious on what the golf market was going to look like, because that's been, we've been buying golf pretty much all summer. We've heard other influencers in the hobby have been talking about buying golf. So I was curious to see if that would kind of have any effect or whatnot there, which we didn't have any luck really selling any golf there, but we did have a lot of people look at them and they liked them. So that always makes me happy too, I guess. So, but yeah, so the high end wasn't really moving for us. But there was some pretty good high end that was walking the show. There was a couple of really nice showy Atanis that were there that we had made some offers on. We weren't able to get anything done. There was a Desmond Ritter gold vinyl out of Optic was there at the show. So I was kind of surprised to see that walk up to the table. I wasn't expecting that. So there was definitely some good inventory. Buying slabs was a little bit tough. I think some people are holding on to some of that inventory maybe, going into the National. We were going in looking to buy football, and it was a little bit tough just because this is the time of year it seems like football starts to go up. And, I think, most people realize that, especially if they've been, doing it for a little while. So I think people were, hanging a little bit tight there. But, which I can respect that, because I'm doing the same, but so we didn't get to buy as much graded as I would have liked. And I wasn't really looking for raw. So I didn't really go after any raw. At the show, I did pick up a Josh Allen out of this year's Donruss Clearly. How they did that rated retro rookie 101. So we picked up the Josh Allen of that I thought that was pretty cool. But no, I know the Teen-Offs, they bought a ton. And in a lot of what we were looking to buy, I think it got to them before it got to us. Yeah. But there was definitely
they get the advantage of walking the show and like catching people where like you have to, if you're at a table, it's like 50-50. If you're at a table, like people walk up and they anticipate that they're going to have to like deal if they're selling to you. Mm-hmm. They know that they're not going to sell for 100% of comps if they're walking up to you. However, you have to wait for them to get to you, where those two guys, man, they just hustle from the second they walk in. They watch people try to make a deal with somebody, and then I watch them like, hey, I'll buy that from you. When the dealer tells them no, they're like, they crush. I am always wildly impressed by what they're up to when they're at shows.
One thing, it's one thing I'm kind of learning, because normally if I go to buy, I'm kind of like singular focused. I get dialed in on one thing, and then I'll go hard on that one thing, kind of like what we've done with Jared Goff. We've gone extremely hard on like Sky Moore, which that's more for PC than it is for, anything else. But we've had a lot of fun. But I get really singular focused, and I kind of, get my blinders on or whatever. And then I forget about all the other stuff,
I do that too.
So I'm pretty bad with that. Tommy's a lot better than I am, when it comes to, just finding stuff that's a good deal, that maybe somebody's looking to move, they're into it right, so they got a little more room, to where I'm a little bit more specific, I guess. But one thing, the Teen-Offs, it doesn't matter, and that's one thing at the shows. If you could just go to a show and we're buying in bulk, the more you can add to it, the better it's going to be. And, the thing I got to try to continue to tell myself is it doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it makes sense, to where, for that person, obviously they got to make a little bit of money if they're going to sell it to you, but then it's got to make sense for you too.
It's funny you said that about Tommy because when we were at Burbank, now mind you, we were there for like 3-4 hours. We were like kids in candy store.
Oh, I
And I
bet.
came back and he was holding soccer cards, and I'm like, you probably don't even know what a soccer ball looks like, dude. And he's like, yeah, but it's just like a great arbitrage opportunity. He's like, I looked at the card, it's gonna 10, and so he's
Yeah.
buying soccer cards.
And it did 10.
I know.
It did 10. I think we
Yeah.
probably doubled up on it. I know. Yeah, we made money on that.
Yeah.
He's smart. Tommy's, and he's like ridiculous too. Every
Yeah.
time I try to take pictures at Shipshawana of you guys for like any promotional stuff I'm doing for this kid scavenger hunt, I got Tommy in the pictures being like,
Oh yeah, he's a goofball.
I'm like,
You know how-
"What?"
You know how smart Tommy is? Tyler's the one always working at till midnight, and Tommy's at home sleeping. And Tyler's the only one at the shows, and Tommy's at
I
home
know it.
sleeping.
But yeah,
So-
you know what? This is actually kind of cool. We his son's a phenomenal athlete. He's a good soccer player and a really good little football player. He's on basically a travel football, flag football team, travel soccer. But his favorite player, because with us liking the Chiefs, he was always a really big Tyreek Hill fan. And then, of course, he got traded, or were left and went to the Dolphins or whatever. Had a complete meltdown, right? But, well, anyways, he ended up having a camp that Tommy signed him up for. And I don't know exactly what happened, but it was supposed to be the Saturday before the week of the National. For whatever reason, it got changed. I don't know if it's because he got in trouble, whatever. He figured, we better have this camp before everybody cancels. I don't know what happened. But anyways, they ended up having this camp. And he said it was really cool. I mean, he had his mom and dad were with him, his daughter. He brought his brand new puppy, his brand new cat. His sister was watching, or no, not his daughter, his sister was watching around them. There's only like 100 kids, no security guards. He said it was just absolutely, incredible. The kids, 5 hours, basically got to practice with Tyreek Hill for the day, doing a bunch of different drills. But we do have now a TNT hat
Ooh,
with the
there you
Tyreek
go.
Hill autograph. So that's kind of cool. So I guess we'll give him a free pass this time,
Yeah, this time.
just for getting us an autograph. So, but
That's awesome.
What's
Hopefully Tyreek Hill didn't beat him.
no, he did not get beat by him. No, what's funny though is
It
when
reminds
we're
me
doing
of
these
when
drills.
David Montgomery got traded. He was so devastated.
Who's that? Oh, your son?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
they traded David Montgomery, he was like devastated.
That was the most success Steven ever had at a card show. Is like he went to
Selling
Lansing
all
and he
his
just
David
was selling
Montgomery
David
He
Montgomery.
sold all of them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I can't. He's like, he's a lion now.
Oh, jeez. You basically live in Detroit. You should be a Lions fan.
No, that's a no for me, dog.
Are
a
you
hard
from
pass.
Chicago?
Me?
No, Courtney.
Oh.
Huh?
Are you from Chicago?
Yeah, Jeremy and I went to high school together.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'd explain. Okay.
Yeah.
It's 3-1-2 here all the time, man. 3-1-2.
That's what's up.
So you set up at the Shipshawana show, and now you set up at the Lansing show.
And Johnny Ford.
And Johnny
we-
Ford. Yep.
We always talk about like what can we as vendors do to make a show better? What can the promoter do to make a show better? Like in your opinion, as somebody who is not a full-time, vendor or dealer, what could be done to make a show better? Because in this show, there's somebody who will get you liquid if you have the right cards. The like the old school guys, the flippers can all coexist. The relationships are good. People send each other. The way it's set, there's restaurants, there's food, there's everything readily available. What can be done to make the show better?
Before you answer, if you guys notice, Dennis was no show, and once you asked this question, Dennis popped into the camera view down below.
It's like fucking whack-a-mole.
I know.
But it's
Answer
missing one
wisely.
thing. It's missing one thing, and that's what Courtney does down in Shipshawana. Scavenger hunt.
There you go.
This show has gotten big enough to where it needs it. I mean, and there's enough kids going around there, I think. I know,
Thanks for that, Tyler.
Jeremy, you're the one that brought it up. You asked what's missing. That's,
Yeah.
from what I've seen at other shows that,
They do
does
need some kind
something-
of kids event, even if it's not a
yeah, just something.
Yeah.
I mean,
That Courtney runs.
Um,
well, maybe it doesn't even necessarily have to be anything I mean, just something to get the kids excited about it. I think
I
that's
don't
one thing.
disagree with you. I think that there's room for something to
Even if it's just some sort of like a giveaway, just something. Because I think you definitely have the dealer support because you have a lot of the same dealers that, set up in Chippewa.
I had ripped a box of the Disney cards while I was sitting there, and I had like kids gathered around watching me rip it. I was giving away the cards as I was pulling them, and they were super excited. And that is something that you're absolutely right. It is, I think all of these shows, the bigger that they get, once they become like a big show, they really we talk about it all the time. The kids are the future of the hobby. They're the future of the space. All of our cards are worth nothing if there's not a generation that is nostalgic about cards buying them someday. I think people who don't want to grow the space are probably a little bit short-sighted in that, because otherwise none of this is valuable if there aren't people coveting it. And
I got another idea, Courtney.
Okay.
There is enough room in one of those wings of the mall toward Dennis could put a dunk tank. Throw Manny up in the dunk tank.
Jeremy and Manny.
Throw Manny up in the dunk tank. Every kid that sinks him gets a free pack of Pokemon cards.
I think that might be and here's the thing, the last show, that would be great.
And we'll let him and Kenny switch on and off.
I like that. Dennis, shake your head if you could get a dunk tank in the mall.
And I'll do you one better. Like if they, instead of dunking you, if it's like an errant throw and it hits you in the head, even more, you get a hobby box.
Now they're going to be aiming at your head.
Oh, jeez.
Why would you
do that, Jeremy?
Only
for
good
content. Who doesn't want to see Manny get slapped in the head by some balls?
You're going in there too.
We could do pie throwing. I have ideas. We could do like a Avery Shoebox kids carnival. And we could have
some sort of carnival type
thing. Carnival games for the kids.
So Dennis just messaged me. He said 100% we can do this, but Manny has to wear a shirt.
Yeah, we don't want to scare the kids away.
Oh my goodness.
That's all right. Now I have a million ideas now, Dennis. You're in trouble. You're going to be getting messages from me.
It's a huge space, so I mean, there's a room.
Yeah. I think
it would be good for the mall too. This could be like more family friendly kind of thing. People will bring their kids and then they'll go shopping with their kids afterwards because the kids are only going to tolerate a card show for so long.
Well, it's got to be the best day of the month every month for that mall.
Yep.
It has to be the best day.
Yeah, Kenny, so I think you pretty much have free reign.
Kenny's a shit talker, so he's going to shit talk some kids. So I think Kenny would be great in that dunk tank as well.
We will donate Kenny for the day. 100%.
And we donated Manny, so there you go.
Yeah, you can donate.
No, here, Toothick has Manuel. He'll be the dunk tank for that. TNT will be Kenny, and we'll bring Steven for Reckless.
Steven. Yeah, but then Jeremy's never going to be at his table. He's going to be trying to dunk Steven the whole
No, because then, like, my luck, he'll fall awkwardly, break his arm, and then he'll ding the insurance, and I'll be more pissed off than I already am. I'll let you guys deal with him for a little bit. Yeah, I told you, this Tyler is a good guy. First off, now we're throwing balls at Manny's head. BGS vibes for Manny. This guy just keeps on going.
I didn't even try to buy anything that you were trying to buy. I was good. I let you have first dibs the whole show.
You did. You didn't, but you did. I appreciate it.
I walked up. This is my impression of everything that happened. Manny wasn't there because he didn't show up until much later. But I walked up and I saw Tyler and I'm like, Tyler, I'm like, oh, you're right next to us.
Yeah,
he walks up, he's like, what did we do to Dennis? Why are these guys here?
That's a compliment, man. You guys are paying 110% comps. I can't compete with that. I could never make a buck. I don't have that bankroll. Remember, Tyler, TNT, they pay 110% comps.
No. We do pay strong. I think we do pay stronger than most.
They do.
But...
You do, man.
I feel like I've kissed your ass a lot, Tyler, but I can't say enough good things about you guys.
No, we try to be fair.
No, we could talk about Kenny, and that's probably it, right? So we'll talk about.
Kenny and I fight like we're brother and sister everywhere we are. It was probably better that he wasn't, because every time he's next to me, he irritates me, and then I argue with him, and then he fights back, and I get annoyed at him. He's like Manny 2.0.
What the heck? I'm just surprised you trust Kenny at your shop by himself.
He did fine.
I feel like when I come in and I chat with Kenny, I'm like, I feel like Tyler and Tommy low-key just want me to get the hell out of there because I get him amped up and I'm just like whispering and I'm like, hey, so Tyler will tell him to do something. I'm like, why don't you tell him to go fuck him? Who is he? Who is he?
Oh gosh.
I just whisper shit to him. He's like, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure he'd love to.
That's funny.
Yeah, man. You know, it's people like you. And I think we should be proactive and do something for the kids, what that looks like. I don't want to do a scavenger hunt. I think we got to make it unique. It's got to be
the scavenger hunt. That's a Shipshawana thing.
But
I'm telling you, kids carnival is a great idea. We could do carnival games. That would be fun.
Like you know, if you're a kid and you're under, let's say, 19, TNT just does free reviews all day. Like, I'm ready to make that commitment right here.
Well, Jeremy has like,
fuck off. No.
You guys have like 10 kids. That's a lot of cards for TNT.
All of a sudden, Steven's walking up with like Patrick Williams cards. Like, where'd you get this, Steve?
They're all fails. Quick fail.
Quick fail. There
Quick fail.
But I mean, it just speaks volumes. Like everybody in the chat, we know on like a real personal level. We're able to go. We're able to do what we have to do to, you know, whether it's make money, get cards to the door, buy, sell, and have a good time, and then be able to have an open, honest conversation. Like all the credit in the world to, you know, Dennis, because I'm sure most promoters would feel a little uncomfortable having a conversation because I'm sure, like Dennis, he wants to do more, he wants to do greater. Nobody wants to hear about deficiencies or shortcomings, but it's a show that, you know, personally we're really proud of to be a part of. I know Manny feels the same way, and then obviously with you guys, everybody knows you work 150 hours a week, and for you to step out for a minute, Tyler, and you know, set up and you know,
well, it makes it easy. We got guys like Dennis running the show. You know, Dennis is easy to work with. He, you know, I think he listens to the vendors and he listens to different ideas. You know, but what he's built is, you know, pretty impressive. Because I mean, there for the longest time, you know, we never really set up anywhere unless somebody asked us to, really, right? Just because it was nothing that we ever thought about. It wasn't like we never really thought about setting up at a show, you know. But getting to know Dennis down in Shipshawana, you know, over the last year or so, and then after going up and walking a show, it was a no-brainer, you know, and that was all because of him, you know, just from that relationship over time that, you know, we had built with him, you know. And it's not like it's anybody, you know, I know you joke about it a little bit, but it's not really like you're really in competition with anybody. You're just there having a good time. You know, you hope you can get a couple of good deals, maybe sell a few things. But, you know, I've never once really set up at a show expecting to, you know, make a ton of money. That's never my idea of why I'm going there, really. It's more or less just kind of hang out for the day and get a break from staring at cards and putting circles around issues, right? It's, you know, just a nice change of pace, really, for us.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see Manny.
Yeah,
I see Manny irritate Jeremy all day.
That's why I stay away from him. And then he complains that I'm not around the booth a lot. Like I can never win with Jeremy. I'm close to him too much. I'm away from him too much. I don't understand with him.
No, you know what? Okay, so here's Manny. You're clearly in the middle of having a conversation with somebody, and all of a sudden he's like, Dad. I'm like, hey, I'm talking with somebody. Give me 1 minute. Okay, Dad. And then you need him to do something, and he's off, and he's just like, wherever.
If Jeremy's talking to somebody else about trying to get a deal done, stay away. Don't make eye contact with him. Don't try to talk to him.
He's a dickhead.
Just leave him alone.
He's a dickhead.
Hey, not if you're the other person. You're like,
you're a dickhead.
This is a professional. They're making me a priority. That's how we roll.
There's been a lot of times where I'm like having like a mild emergency and Jeremy's off somewhere in the show and I'm like calling his phone and he's like, he texts me, he's like 5 minutes. And then like 20 minutes goes by and I'm like, hey.
Goes back with a 2 rows.
And he comes back carrying a whole case and somebody's showcase full of cards. I'm like, well, and he's like, what did you need? I'm like, it's nothing. I peed my pants. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
We're New York minutes, Courtney.
Or hey, this guy's been waiting here for 30 minutes for you to do a trade, and I'm not trading your cards.
That's fine. Somebody's got to work, man. Somebody has to work, Manny.
So, what was your best pickup of the day, Jeremy?
I like the lot we picked up at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, as a whole, And then obviously I like the Jude and the Mbappe I picked up from your sister. That was like just a cherry on top, and it was like I was happy because it sounds like that she got in really early and like
she bought those really good.
Yeah, so
she had into them. She did really good. I would imagine that you guys made a fair deal to where I would imagine there's some room for you still. And I want to say it probably helped for part of her next semester of school. So she was pretty happy when that was all said and done.
Sending kids to school, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was in the middle, so we comped like it was like 150 cards, and so it was a little bit of a process. So Courtney messaged me and she's like, "Hey," and I'm like, I kind of gave her like the FU. I'm in the middle of doing something. And then as I was walking back holding the stuff, I was like, oh, wow, I want to make this happen. And so I was like trying to do some research. I was looking at pop reports and we got a deal done pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm like, they're waiting for you. Trying to leave and they're waiting for you to get back. It's that like uncomfortable feeling when you're standing at the table. Like I'll sell stuff. I have no problem. But when people want to trade like into my cards, I've said it time and again, I don't like trading. I will sell you. We can negotiate a price. But if you want to do a cash and card deal, then you're just going to have to wait for Jeremy because I don't like to trade. I don't like to trade.
I never used to. I actually don't mind trading now. I never.
Jeremy loves it.
I've gotten used to it. It seems like because you start getting into some of the more expensive cards, that's really what happens. You don't see a lot of them exchange hands just all cash. It just doesn't happen. You start getting into the $10,000 plus range. It's unless you're going to send them to an auction house, or roll the dice on eBay. It just seems like that's what ends up happening. So, and we've had it go both ways to where we've been able to trade multiple cards up into something we really wanted. And we've done it the opposite to where we, just try to get really liquid, and so I never used to like it, but it is something. I think the trade nights, down in Shipshewana, the one in Chicago, like 6 months ago or so, just kind of got us to the point to where it's like, okay, this is a space we got to get comfortable in, and it can definitely work in your favor.
I've fallen in love with trading down. That is like my new favorite thing. I love trading down and picking up value.
So if you're trading down, you're trading something that other person really wants, and you're trading typically into stuff to where you don't have any emotional attachment. So you it's on you. It's up to you. And when you have the card that they really want.
Yep. So Tyler, man, we really appreciate it. I wanted to say we went in a different direction, but I mean, just your presence at the show. I know there's been times where maybe stuff wasn't moving the way we wanted to, and we needed some money. And because you do pay very fair and very strong, and you're very easy to work with. You help make that show awesome because there's always like, hey, if I get stuck, I always know
we do a deal every time.
Yeah, exactly.
1 or 2 cards easily every time.
And
I did get a little pushback on that golf though. I couldn't believe it.
Did you really?
Yeah, they said they weren't good. Whoever gets that in that break is not going to be excited about the golf.
Dude, I'm telling you,
he's going to be the MVP. Come on, really?
The 9-8 Lions, the greatest NFL team of all time.
He's MVP this year. You watch.
Unbelievable.
Stop it.
What are those guys?
I know what you're talking about, and I don't even like the Lions.
So you guys will be set up the last show at Lansing.
We will be set up in Lansing, and then we will be set up at the National too. So.
What's the deadline? You're running a special. Do you want to give everybody a rundown of all the specials you're running for grading?
So right now, I want to say they just announced SGC through July 25th is going to have their football special open to where that's $15 a card. So we're the same price as going direct, to SGC on that. And then PSA for a pre-national special. If you're going to the national, you can submit for $150 a card. Max value is $24.99. So basically it's their express level. And what they'll do is they'll bring the cards to the national, and the dealers will be able to pick them up. We'll be able to pick them up Tuesday before the show. So you'll have your cards to shop, at the show. So if you have a couple of cards, my recommendation, buy a couple of, mid to higher end cards that that you can move, hopefully at the National. Definitely I think a low risk, type deal there. Even if you don't get the 10, it's something to where you will move it if it's the right card. A lot of good new releases right now with Select and that kind of stuff. So, it's something that you can get in and out of something pretty quickly. But so we got that going on. And then, just in general, all of our prices are pretty much the same as going direct or cheaper. So there's really no reason, to go direct, in my opinion, especially when you add in the review process if you want review. But once you start adding in the insurance cost from shipping to the grading company and back to you, it's even with you paying shipping, if you're local, you can always just drop stuff off. But if you have to ship to us and then we have to ship back to you, it's our shipping cost that we charge is a lot cheaper than what the shipping is from the grading company, and then of course you shipping to the grading company. So and we send out weekly, so it's not like it's anything to where your cards are sitting too long, except for reviews. Sometimes reviews were about 2 weeks out, just because of the amount of cards that we get in. But we will make sure you get as best results I think possible, based on the review process that we have.
I would rather wait the 2 weeks and know that my cards are getting reviewed rather than you guys stress passing things through, because there are
I had
subbers that do that. And it
the
drives me nuts.
last 2 days for me have been terrible. I've probably looked at over 500 cards, and I think 100 have passed. To where it's been like, the last one that I just did, it was, they still wanted to send some. I'm like, well, let me show you the pictures first before we just send them, because if I just send them and then they come back, you're going to be upset, and that's what we try to protect against. Not that we're always right. We miss, you're never going to catch 100% of the issues, but we can definitely weed out most of them.
It's awesome.
But
Bring
thank
him
you
home,
guys.
Manny.
What do you want the people to do? I will actually, before we do that, make sure you go follow Avery Shoebox on Instagram. He gives you the latest promotions of like when his cards, like I said, there's 2 of them coming up. He has a sports card show, the normal monthly one, but then he also has the August 12th TCG show. So if you're in the area, go to that show. We'll be there. And also follow TNT. And if you're interested in grading, go to their Facebook, follow their group, because Tyler's in there every day. I see him answering questions that he really doesn't need to be answering, but he takes the time and answers everyone. So, and that he updates spreadsheets daily, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, you want to make sure that every day you remind Tyler, update spreadsheet. He gets really happy, and then he'll actually give you a $3 discount on your next grade. So make sure that you go.
Yeah, we'll add it to Reckless's bill. No problem at all.
So make sure you follow him. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. They have some good content. I love the posts of like what cards are coming in. And
yeah, we got to get back to doing more of that.
I like
away
those.
from that. We used to do a card of the day for SGC, Beckett, and PSA. We definitely got to bring those back.
You should do it for sure. And then you got to add TCG in there. So then I have a shot.
We got to stop
5s.
You didn't have any 8.5s, did you?
Well,
Just one?
Yeah, just one.
We'll blame Beckett. That's just weren't some of those cards 10s that you got back that came out 9s and 9.5s?
Yeah, I think that it was the foil. We talked about it. So make sure you follow TNT. Make sure you follow Avery Shoebox. Make sure you follow Reckless Miss Courtney, because on Reckless cards you see Courtney.
She is the queen of the hobby.
The queen of the hobby. She struts her stuff when she's walking at shows. You guys see it. And then Jeremy, what do you want the people to do?
Smash.
Jeez. So smash the
Pathetic.
Yeah.
Smash. Yell
Yeah.
it.
There you go.
Smash that subscribe button. Follow Too Thick.
Follow Dangerous Games too.
Follow Dangerous Games as well. And we appreciate every one of you guys that were tuning in. You guys make the hobby great. I appreciate all you guys. I know the people that come up and say, I love listening to your guys' podcast. It makes my day. So I appreciate it.
Cocaine Bear.
handing out cocaine at Jeremy. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed your hobby release. We will talk to soon, and peace.